It is the second day of June 2023 and you're just in time for another edition of TV47 News Updates. Well, we have so much lined up for you on our bulletin this afternoon. Remember, you can always interact with us on our social media handles indicated at the bottom of the screen. Now, with that said, my name is Dennis Otieno. I trust you're doing well. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, on to our top story this afternoon. The Busia Senator Okiya Omtatah has filed a petition challenging the constitutionality of the Finance Bill 2023. In the suit filed as urgent, Omtatah cites key sections of the Constitution, which he says have been violated. The Busia Senator accuses President William Ruto of upsurging the role of Parliament and the Kenya Revenue Authority, saying President Ruto is forcing Kenyans to pay taxes irregularly. Omtatah and four other petitioners now want the High Court to restrain National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula from sending the bill to the President for assent. Now, I'm being informed that story is still being prepared. It will be with us in a few minutes from now. But moving on, Bungoma self-proclaimed prophet Nabii Yohana has appeared before the Bungoma DCI offices following an order from Bungoma County Police Commander Francis Kooli. Police officers summoned the prophet to probe the activities in his church. Take a look.
Majina yangu naitwa Yohana Tano Nabii, kulingana na kasi ya Mungu. Nimefika kwa hii station saa 3:30 hapo. Nilihitaji na serikali. Jajua sababu nahitaji na serikali ni nini. Nataka nifikie ofisa ya niambie jambo mbali niita. Sababu Jumatatu alikuwa kwa boma yangu na mimi sikukua. Hiyo Jumatatu ya hii wiki. Nilifika Poma saa 8, wanasema nahitaji na serikali bakuone. Sikujua sababu kubwa ni nini. Ndio nimekuja sasa mbele ya serikali waniambie sababu kubwa ambayo waliniitia hapa. Chaelewa sababu ambayo waliniita. Chaambia statement nini ambayo ilifanya wakaniita hapa.
Naomba tu usije si mambo mbaya. Si mambo mbaya tumekuitia. Ni baadhi ya vitu tunataka tu kujua na tatuelezea vile iko ili tuweze pia kukuelewa. Huyu mzee wetu ana chakula gani anapika huko? Hii chakula anapakulia watu ni chakula sawa sawa ama ina sumu?
Now, the government will from 1st July 2023 reopen the immigration office in Garissa County to facilitate a seamless and expeditious processing and issuance of passports in the northeastern region. Now, while addressing a public barasa in Garissa, Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki noted that the government will invest 20 billion shillings in modernization of equipment and other facilities for various security agencies to boost specialized security and intelligence teams to combat terrorism. Kindiki, who was flanked by the Deputy Inspector General Noor Gabor, Garissa Governor Natif Jama, among other leaders, is expected to make a return to the county in 2 weeks' time.
I therefore want to say that the days for terrorists harassing us, killing our security officers, government officers, that time and that period is over. We want to concentrate on our internal issues because we have a number of internal issues of our security nature. I know we have a challenge between our border as Garissa and Isiolo County. When I meet with your leaders on Monday and when I come back in 2 weeks' time, we shall be able to provide a framework for engagement between Garissa and Isiolo to have a permanent solution to that problem.
Now, the government is committed to supporting creatives in the art and culture sector. This according to President William Ruto, who celebrated the creative arts and culture industry in schools during the 2023 National Drama Festival State Concert at State House, Nairobi. President Ruto, while addressing dignitaries as well as performers during the festival, emphasized on the importance of creatives speaking about the causes that are hurting the country, such as banditry, drug abuse, among other vices, in their set pieces, which he pledged to address and eradicate through his administration. Meanwhile, Education CS Ezekiel Machogu, who attended the event, pointed out the importance of bridging the Ministry of Education with the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Arts in a bid to nurture talent from a young age. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua urged the performers on their part to come up with pieces that will positively criticize the administration.
I want to tell you, we have mobilized the police and the army to go to the North Rift to make sure all our kids go back to school. And they will be there. It doesn't matter for months, even for years, until we sort out the challenge of banditry, until we make sure that we open every school, and until we make sure that every child is in class.
The president here doesn't want a praise and worship choir here. What he needs are people who have no malice, like these young people, who can do an audit on his performance so far and come up with choral verses, come up with mashairi, come up with plays that will help him to become a better leader, because he's not an angel.
Your Excellency, we are going to combine efforts so that these young people, with the wonderful talent they have, we can even be able to take it to international level. And for the first time, today, they are also going to showcase in our national theater. So, Your Excellency, with your guidance and support, we are sure that we will be able to take it to another level, because me and my brother are working very, very closely together so that we get to another level.
We have not had a clear policy frame to anchor this process. And Your Excellency, when you look at the plan, the manifesto of the administration, and the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the creative industries feature prominently as a key driver of our economy. And that, Your Excellency, provides an easy frame for us to roll this process.
Meanwhile, the Mount Kenya University, in conjunction with Cape Media, have partnered to educate the youths in matters mental health. Speaking today at the Mount Kenya Convention Center in Thika, the chief guest, Pastor Rigathi Gachagua, has vowed to fight and defend the boy child who has been neglected by the society, hence leading to depression that has claimed a number of lives through suicide.
They are working. All mental disorders are manifest. Everybody can tell that you have a problem by the way you dress, the way you eat, by the way you carry yourself, concentrate on various tasks. Someone can tell there's something wrong. The sleep habits, the patterns that we adopt in life, like our friends have told us as they give their testimonies. So it's important to just have that knowledge. Now, it is health that is real wealth, not pieces of gold and silver. We all know our renowned person, Mahatma Gandhi. But this is unfortunate because mostly we are thinking about success and how we can get rich quickly. This has made many young people to just trust anything, to indulge in the wrong pursuits and thinking that money can grow on trees. By the way, we overspend maybe the little pocket money we get from our family members, our parents, and we forget that some of them are struggling to put you in school. I want us to think briefly about what contributes to mental health among young people. And according to studies, the family of origin is key, how we are raised. You realize that the families are the center stage in the development of young people's psychopathology. You find poor functioning families where there is no communication, where there is domestic violence and negative factors produce mental illness among the children and youths. Being raised by a parent who suffers psychological disorder, this is according to research, especially borderline personality or a psychotic parent or guardian. When the parent has challenges, they easily pass them to their children unaware. We have other factors, and this especially for students, like competitive academic performance. We all want good grades. Our parents and guardians want us to perform. When we get poor grades in a certain period of
and education, and provide information on mental health, including how to recognize a person sinking into depression. I believe the speakers during the festival will deeply explore the different mental disorders and the signs to look out for your family members and friends. Students, ladies and gentlemen, I also urge the university leadership to adopt an active role in creating supportive environment for students' mental health. University life, with its unique blend of academic challenges, personal growth, and a newfound independence, can be both exciting and overwhelming. And it is during this phase that many students experience a wide range of emotional stressors and pressures. As students pursue academic excellence, it is important to recognize the importance of mental health. I propose that the university considers having a dean of students, of which I hear in this Mount Kenya University. I think I don't need to speak about that because it is already happening, but we aspire to see that every university has dean and counselors who are able to stand in and be able to speak to our students, so that when they are low and they are frustrated, they can have a place to vent where they can speak to someone and get some help. Students, ladies and gentlemen, mental health destabilizes other forms of health: physical health, emotional health, psychological health. And some may resort to mental disability, including depression, suicide, murder, or going insane. Other people resort to drug and substance abuse. I was particularly saddened during my visit to a rehabilitation center that
Well, so much to pick up from the advice issued by the spouse of the Deputy President, Dr. Dorcas Rigathi, as well as the co-founder of Mount Kenya University, Dr. Jane Nyutu, who spoke at the event. Well, so much to pick up from the advice issued out there in that conference. But moving on from matters mental health to allowances for the elderly, where Cabinet Secretary for Labour and Social Protection, Florence Bore, now says the government is set to introduce a bill in Parliament to ensure all elderly people over the age of 70 are granted allowances by the government. Speaking at Kisanana in Mogocho constituency, Bore says the government delayed in paying the allowances because of lack of funds. She adds that the bill is set to include all the elderly people so that they can fend for themselves. Bore says President William Ruto has instructed that they will be paid their dues from the month of June.
Wale ambao wamefika miaka 70 sio wote tunawapatia pesa. Ni kwa sababu hatuna pesa ambayo inatosha. Lakini iko bill ambayo tutachukua kule bunge ambayo tunaweza kupewa pesa na donors. ndio tuweze kupatia kila mtu ambaye amefika miaka 70 hizo pesa. Kwa ministry mimi ndio ninalipa wazee. Na nataka kusema pole kwa sababu nimechelewa. Karibu miezi 4 sijalipa. Ni kwa sababu tuko na ile shida ya pesa. Lakini rais ametoa directions kwamba kutoka June tutaanza kulipa wale wazee kabla sisi hatujapata mshahara.
Now, while the issue of the affordable housing bill continues to generate debates, the Lamu County government has already set aside land to make the project a success. According to Lamu County Governor Issa Timami, his government has set aside 5 acres of Mokowe town where 1,000 affordable houses will be built to provide accommodation for investors and workers at the Lamu port. He explained that his government is collaborating with the National Housing Department to make the project a success.
Well, sisi Lamu ndio nikasema sisi hatupingi huo mpango. Hata Lamu County tayari kuna title deed nimetoa hapa Mokowe zaidi ya ekari 5 kwa mpango wa affordable housing. Na mimi kama governor wa Lamu nimeweka sahihi mkataba pamoja na Department of Housing katika Ministry of Lands ili tushirikiane kujenga karibu nyumba 1,000 affordable housing katika county ya Lamu. Ndio nikasema huu mpango hatupingi, ni mpango mzuri. Mnajua Mokowe ndio county headquarters, ndio tuko karibu na port. Tayari wale wafanyaji kazi na wawekezaji ambao watakuja Mokowe, hatuna manyumba ya kutosha, ndio tukapeana ardhi kama serikali ya county kwa department hiyo ya housing ili tuwe na mradi wa kujenga affordable housing. Huu ni mradi baina ya county ya Lamu na pia Department of Housing, na wao kazi kubwa ni kutafuta mwekezaji aje ajenge na hizo nyumba ziuziwe wananchi wa Lamu.
Meanwhile, Busia Senator Okiya Omtata has filed a petition challenging the constitutionality of the Finance Bill 2023. In the suit filed as urgent, Omtata cites key sections of the Constitution which he says have been violated. The Busia senator accuses President William Ruto of usurping the role of Parliament and Kenya Revenue Authority, saying President Ruto is forcing Kenyans to pay taxes irregularly. Omtata and 4 other petitioners now want the High Court to restrain National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula from sending the bill to the President for assent.
Section 76 of the bill have challenged it for being unconstitutional, for threatening property rights, for threatening constitutional provisions that protect the salaries of independent office holders like judges, like the Auditor General, like the control of budget, and the commissioners of the members of in the constitutional commissions, where it is clearly stipulated that you cannot touch their salaries. But this particular provision is going out to touch those salaries.
Meanwhile, President William Ruto has met with governors and private sector players right here in Nairobi County. Certain matters are expected to come up, including the contentious finance bill, among others.
Organizations have already opposed my plan on housing. And I'm asking myself, good people, yeah? The interventions we are making is so that we can promote manufacturing. How can the Kenya Association of Manufacturers be opposing manufacturing? It doesn't make sense to me, good people. Yeah? So that's why we need to have a candid conversation, because there is nothing new we are discussing. Nothing new. Everything we are discussing today, we have been discussing for the last 15, 20 years. The thing we have not been able to do is to make the decisions to move us forward. And you see, I am very amazed. I received the Prime Minister of Singapore, the great place we keep talking about. Oh, you know, Singapore, they were with us. You know, they were we were all in 1960. We were the same level. Today, Singapore is in the first world. Singapore was a slum like Kibera. All of you know that. You've seen the pictures. Singapore was like Kibera. But they made some difficult decisions. And that is why they are where they are, and we are where we are. It is as simple as that. Between us and Singapore, the gap is the ability to make decisions. So how can we be celebrating Singapore? You know, they managed to overcome the housing challenge. 85% of the people of Singapore today own a home. Less than 5% in Kenya own a home. Right? So we are celebrating Singapore because they made a decision on housing. We don't want to make the decision in housing, and yet we want to become like Singapore. How is that going to happen? Not even by miracles, my friends.
And our reporters are following closely on that story. They will be updating us further on it as it develops in our subsequent bulletins. But moving on, now picture this. Tucked away at Lanet within Bahati sub-county, the Nakuru school was on Madaraka Day awash with cultural lovers and tourists alike after it was transformed into an extravagant exhibition of cultural music, local dances and traditional cuisine, as Shishi Josephine now tells us.
During the day-long event that was organized by the school's administration, residents and parents got a sense of the traditional way of life of various ethnic communities, with villagers complete with their tools of communication, hunting, storage facilities, and traditional utensils.
This is our special delicacy.
According to Nakuru School's director Tabitha Waitindi, the Cultural Day was aimed at celebrating Kenya's achievements for the past 60 years and to sensitize the communities on the need to foster unity for development.
We are showcasing almost 14 different tribes represented by different students in the country. We have students even from outside the country. We have the Somalis, we have the Baganda community from Uganda, we have the Dinka from Sudan, all of them together. And the message we want to pass across to everyone is that culture unifies. Culture brings people together.
To Clara Zeina, a tourist from Germany, the Baganda culture stood out to her after they explained the outline of the Baganda King's Court, the manner in which various huts in the palace were positioned, their significance and their occupants' designations.
And I think that's a really good idea with all the cultures, because so other people can also get to know other cultures. And it's the first time for me in Kenya, so I didn't know a lot about the different cultures, so it was really interesting for me to hear about it, like how they lived and also the food they eat.
Kenyans have been urged to think of children as participants in and carriers of African culture, as they are a critical part of the population, the future of our societies.
It will be a very good thing for the government to emulate Nakuru School, that like bring culture into school, help kids to learn their culture, because even most of them come from towns, they don't know anything that happens in the village. So if they can bring it into schools, the kids will learn and know what is in their culture and love and embrace it.
We do not want to have a generation in future where the children don't know where they came from, They don't know their language, they don't know their culture, they don't know their way of life, they don't know their values, their norms, their way of life. It is important that the government seriously integrates elements of teaching of different cultures in the Kenyan curriculum.
Some of the communities on display included the Dinka from South Sudan, the Baganda from Uganda, the Kikuyu, Somali, Maasai, Kalenjin, Kamba, Luya, Mijikenda, Luo, Teso, Embu, Kisii, among other communities.
To us, this event is very important because it helps our girls to know their traditional African heritage, where they came from, originally what was done in their traditional times, how food was cooked, how they were earning their living, including the cash crops that they were growing, including the cultures, marriage, initiation, and all that.
We are different from other cultures through the meal we eat. It's not similar to the other groups. The clothes we dress, it's not similar to the other groups.
Chichi Josephine, TV 47.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us.